So we all know that the WNBA have about 2 weeks to get this deal done, signed, sealed, and delivered, so the schedule possibly won't be impacted. Well, I'm here to tell you there's more to this WNBA situation that meets the eye. One being, everybody forgot about this decision. Now, we all remember before this whole thing went to shit like it just did, we have to talk about Cathy Engelbert. No one's speaking about this lady, and people is failing to realize that part of the most biggest decision of it all was getting rid of Cathy Engelbert.
The WNBA is standing at a critical crossroads, and while the spotlight remains fixed on CBA negotiations, revenue splits, and the looming start of the season, a far more consequential issue is unfolding behind the scenes. The public conversation is centered on dollars and deadlines, yet a key figure continues to be noticeably absent from the narrative. That silence feels intentional, and it raises a serious question about whether leadership, particularly that of Cathy Engelbert, has played a role in why this entire process has stalled. If accountability truly matters, then it's fair to ask, should the WNBA have made a change at the top long ago? Share your honest perspective below, because this conversation is long overdue.
Down. She sold 16% of this league to private investors. Now they're set owners now. And we got to get all of those behind the scene owners to agree on this current collective bargaining agreement. During the All-Star game in Indiana, she was getting drunk and pretty much dancing her honey off like she's not the commissioner. And more importantly, she showed her ass and did nothing to enforce the assault that CaitlinClark went upon. Now, Cathy Engelbert has not only spoke badly about CaitlinClark, she has went on record and insulted several other players besides CC. And last I heard is that they wanted Cathy Engelbert gone. Could that be a hidden reason as to why?
It's not just about the CBA talks. It's not merely about revenue splits, expansion draft complications, the free agency freeze, or the looming March 10th deadline that has executives and players on edge. Those elements are important, absolutely, but they represent only the visible layer of a much deeper issue. Beneath the headlines lies a far more uncomfortable discussion, one that keeps getting pushed aside. It centers on the individual entrusted with leading the WNBA. Cathy Engelbert, the league's commissioner, has effectively disappeared from public view. No media briefings, no direct communication, no reassurance to players, fans, or stakeholders. At a defining crossroads in league history, with a collective bargaining agreement that will shape the WNBA's trajectory for years to come, with athletes left in limbo about their professional futures, with free agency locked and draft procedures uncertain, the absence of visible leadership is glaring. And yet, many are treating that silence as routine. It isn't routine. It isn't standard. It demands scrutiny. Before we go further, let's properly frame the situation.
Not getting done. Now, we know all about the revenue sharing. We know all about those different factors that has been playing into this whole thing. But something no one else is talking about is Cathy Engelbert keeping her job. It's no secret that the WNBA players has a distaste for Cathy Engelbert, and many fans do too. Now, when it comes to her, I don't know, but I remember when this thing first came to a head during the end of the 2025 season, word on the street is that some owners and damn near all the players wanted Cathy gone, part of this CBA agreement.
Right now, the WNBA is functioning in limbo. The previous collective bargaining agreement officially lapsed on January 9th after being extended multiple times, yet a permanent resolution still hasn't been secured. Negotiations between the league and the Players Association have stretched beyond a year. In the meantime, the entire ecosystem is frozen. Free agency is stalled. Trades are on hold. The expansion draft for 2 incoming franchises cannot move forward. The college draft remains in suspension. Training camp is scheduled for mid-April. The regular season is set to tip off on May 8th. And now players have been given a March 10th deadline. Finalize a deal, or the season faces postponement. That is extraordinary pressure. This is a pivotal chapter for women's basketball. Moments like this are when strong leadership is supposed to emerge, step to the podium, confront the tension directly, and provide clarity to players, fans, and stakeholders. Yet Cathy Engelbert has not taken that stage. There have been no visible public addresses, no steadying message, no clear reassurance. Her absence from the center of this storm has been impossible to ignore, deliberate, even. And as days pass without communication, that silence grows more powerful. The optics are impossible to dismiss. The signals are unmistakable. And here's the uncomfortable theory that much of mainstream sports media seems reluctant to examine.
We heard, like I stated, March 10th is going to be the day. Will that be the day that we hear that Adam Silver is going to appoint a new WNBA commissioner? Because I believe that is very, very possible. Sources was telling me months ago that Cathy Engelbert job allegedly will be put on the line after they sign this CBA agreement. Now, we know we still got free agency, we still got an expansion draft, and we definitely still got the WNBA draft to uphold.
There is a growing belief that Cathy Engelbert may already understand that her tenure is nearing its conclusion. Her silence throughout this CBA standoff may not stem from mismanagement. It could be quiet acceptance. When leaders sense the end of their mandate, they often retreat from the spotlight. They stop acting as the long-term face of the institution. They avoid attaching themselves to defining announcements. They wait. And right now, that pattern mirrors what we're witnessing inside the WNBA. For months, insiders have hinted at mounting tension behind the scenes. The message circulating within league circles suggests that both players and ownership groups view this agreement as a referendum on Engelbert's leadership. Her future appears intertwined with the outcome of this negotiation. There is speculation that once the deal is finalized, once the signatures are on paper, a transition could follow, with a new commissioner stepping into place. Is that officially confirmed? No. Has the league publicly acknowledged it? Absolutely not. But behavior speaks volumes. When a commissioner becomes invisible during the most consequential labor negotiation in recent league history, that absence signals more than routine discretion. This isn't a sabbatical. It isn't coincidence. It suggests movement behind the curtain. This does not feel accidental. It feels deliberate, like someone who has already been briefed on what their reduced role will look like moving forward. And if that's the case, the influence once attached to the commissioner's office may already be shrinking behind the scenes. But this didn't happen overnight. Cathy Engelbert didn't suddenly wake up to resistance. The tension has been accumulating layer by layer, while many conveniently chose to overlook the warning signs. Go back to the All-Star Weekend in Indiana, an event that should have symbolized momentum and celebration for the WNBA. Instead, it became a moment that raised eyebrows. During a nationally visible showcase, Engelbert was captured in optics that did little to project firm executive leadership at a time when the league's growth demanded seriousness and control. Meanwhile, on the court, the league's most electrifying draw, CaitlinClark, was subjected to physical play and controversy that ignited widespread criticism. Yet from the commissioner's office, there was silence. No decisive enforcement. No strong public stance. No visible accountability. In high-growth moments, leadership messaging matters, and the absence of it sends its own signal. To players, to fans, to corporate partners investing millions into the product. The takeaway was unmistakable. When decisive leadership is missing at the top, two conclusions begin to circulate. Either the will to act isn't there, or the resolve to make unpopular decisions is lacking. For a commissioner, that perception is damaging. The role demands authority, clarity, and the courage to step into controversy when necessary. Without that backbone, the office itself loses weight. Now let's address what many prefer to avoid, the CaitlinClark effect. Her arrival didn't just boost excitement. It altered the economic trajectory of the WNBA. Jersey sales surged. Arenas filled. Television ratings climbed. Corporate partnerships expanded. The financial spike wasn't subtle, and it wasn't theoretical. Team owners openly acknowledged the windfall when they revealed that each franchise would receive $8 million, a distribution directly connected to the revenue wave tied to Clark's presence and influence. Those numbers speak for themselves, and that reality complicates the narrative. For years, Cathy Engelbert positioned herself as the strategic force behind the league's commercial breakthrough, emphasizing her corporate pedigree and presenting herself as the architect of sustainable growth. But when a single player's arrival visibly accelerates the business side of the sport almost overnight, it shifts credit and it shifts power. The league owners openly acknowledge that CaitlinClark, through her jersey sales, trading cards, and the massive attention she brought to the WNBA, was the true driver of the revenue milestone, not Cathy Engelbert's strategies or business plans, highlighting the stark irony that the very player Engelbert allegedly failed to protect is the one who made meaningful revenue sharing possible. While the commissioner herself now faces an uncertain exit, and the overlooked 16% problem adds yet another layer to this complex situation. Cathy Engelbert sold 16% of the WNBA to private investors, making them part owners with a direct financial stake in any collective bargaining agreement. And with Engelbert reportedly on her way out, the negotiation table has become far more complicated. Questions about who holds real authority, who can finalize the deal, and whether the leadership transition should happen before or after the CBA now dominate discussions. And every day those uncertainties remain unresolved is another day the league sits frozen, raising the possibility that Engelbert's uncertain status is contributing significantly to the delay. Could the behind-the-scenes leadership transition be holding up negotiations because no one is certain who will actually execute the decisions once a deal is finalized? That is a valid question, one that needs to be asked openly, because the practical reality is clear. The commissioner oversees free agency. The commissioner commands the draft stage. The commissioner is the public face of the WNBA during its most critical operational moments. If that role is about to change hands, every function tied to it exists in a state of flux, and uncertainty is the enemy of meeting deadlines. Enter Fee Steer. At the close of the 2025 season, she began speaking out, releasing information about Engelbert that confirmed what many inside the league had long suspected privately. The players' frustration was unmistakable. It wasn't just quiet murmurs. It was deliberate, organized, and aimed squarely at the commissioner's office. Yet Cathy Engelbert went completely silent. No public responses. No press conferences defending her record. No appearances to reassure fans, players, or stakeholders that she was actively steering the WNBA through this critical negotiation. Her loudest statement recently has been total silence, and in leadership, that kind of absence never bodes well. Then there's the NBA connection. Adam Silver's involvement matters. The WNBA and NBA share leadership oversight, and Silver's influence touches key decisions in both leagues. His silence during the CBA standoff is noteworthy, but not surprising if a leadership transition is already underway. If Silver and the owners have already decided Engelbert's tenure ends once the deal is signed, staying quiet is strategic. You don't publicly undermine a sitting commissioner before a major agreement is finalized. The plan is to let her finish her tenure, get the CBA across the line, and then announce the change. That approach, however, leaves Silver effectively managing a lame duck commissioner through the most consequential negotiation in recent league history, creating both discomfort and delays.